Remember when wide receivers were safe in fantasy football? Not in 2025. Can we please go at least 1 week, fantasy gods, without major injuries to stud wide receivers? Please, is that too much to ask? And of course, none bigger than Puka Nacua, the guy who was dominating fantasy football, leading fantasy football, did nothing for you this week, but most importantly, may do nothing for you next week and beyond, because now he's dealing with an injury, because just how 2025 is going to be, I guess. We cannot have nice things when it comes to wide receivers. If you saw the play, it was an end zone target, landed, everything looked okay. He got up and then took a few steps and then went back down, grabbed kind of his foot ankle injury, went to the locker room with help to get off the field. They were saying it's a foot injury. Then he came back, right? He came back on the sidelines, had his helmet on, didn't play to end the first half. So it's kind of like, what's going on here? Then in the second half, he started playing again. It's like, oh, okay, maybe we did. Maybe we somehow averted disaster here. Maybe everything's going to be okay. We can take a deep breath. But if you're watching that game, this did not look like the same Puka Nacua. Did nothing after that injury in this game. And then after the game, what did we hear from Sean McVay? Already saying his status for next week is uncertain. That's never good when they're already saying that, right? Because we're still a week away. The game just ended, and you're already pretty much saying, like, he's probably not going to play next week. Look, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but this is the panic video, so yeah, we got to panic a little bit. Let's not forget, just last week, Omarion Hampton, kind of a similar thing, like towards the end of the game, had that foot injury, looked okay, was like on the sideline kind of testing it, didn't sound serious, then bam, IR, and now they're saying it might even be more than 4 weeks. Let's hope that's not the case for Puka Nacua, but man, right now, you got to be panicking if you got Puka Nacua, because this guy was carrying you this year, and now you might be without him for a while. And another wide receiver that was carrying fantasy teams this year, rookie Emeka Egbuka, looked great. Then this week, did not have a great game, and of course, missed a big part of that game with a hamstring injury. First they said he was doubtful to return, then they ruled him out, and you know how this goes. This could be bad, right? This could be multiple weeks. I mean, look at Mike Evans' hamstring injury. We haven't seen this guy in 3 games, and then you always got to wonder, like, when he comes back, how healthy are they really? So, and again, another wide receiver who's been phenomenal this year, just carrying fantasy teams, one of the best draft picks in all of fantasy football. Of course, though, got to get hurt, because 2025, it's just the year where I guess every good wide receiver is going to go down with injury at some point. Just brutal injury run out happening right now. And then a little bit lesser of a wide receiver here, but look, last week, it looked like maybe Calvin Ridley. Okay, here we go. We're going to see him. Now he gets the Raiders. This is it. And then what happens? Early in that game, had a catch for 18 yards. Hamstring injury, ruled out, didn't come back. Now we're probably looking at Calvin Ridley also missing multiple weeks. Obviously not as big here as Puka Nacua or Emeka Egbuka. Ridley, yeah, depending on your league size, might be droppable if he goes on IR and you don't have any IR spots. But it just shows, like, the way it's going with wide receivers right now. Like, I don't have a single running back injury to talk about right now. Not one. Yeah, here we are talking about 2 of the biggest wide receivers when we've already lost guys like, CeeDee Lamb, Mike Evans this season, and others that I can't even think of right now because there's been too many to count. Just brutal injuries for wide receivers. But look, there's more to panic about than just injuries. Sure, injuries suck, but it's a part of the game. It happens. It's not fun when it's some great players, but it is the way it goes. But I do want to say real quick before I get to the rest of the players on this panic video, if you're enjoying the content and you haven't subscribed yet, do me a quick favor. Take 1 second, hit that subscribe button. We greatly appreciate it. We're on the road to 100,000 subscribers this year. Help us get there. And I think it's only fair we start with the Eagles offense, which looks completely broken to me right now. Completely broken. I mean, look, Saquon Barkley, another game against his old team, a bad run defense. Look, he wasn't bad in this game, right? Averaged almost 5 yards per carry, but this offense is not giving them enough chances here. And then when they get inside the 5-yard line, they're running like designed runs for Dallas Goedert. Just give the ball to Saquon Barkley, please. But look, Saquon Barkley has not looked anything close to the guy we saw last year. Has not lived up to a first-round draft pick so far. And when I watch this Eagles offense, I mean, they just look like, you know what they look like to me? They look like players out there who have, like, don't play together. Like, they're just all out there trying to do their own thing. Like, Hurts and A.J. Brown don't look like they're on the same page. The offensive line is a mess. I don't know what's going on here. And then A.J. Brown after the game saying, yeah, I had no recollection of any meeting with Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts. What? You don't have a recollection of that meeting? You don't remember this meeting? Like, what is going on here? Like, you got to be very nervous about this Eagles offense right now. Jalen Hurts barely staying alive because of tush pushes basically missing Devonta Smith on an easy, huge touchdown. I don't know if it's the offensive coordinator. I don't know if it's Super Bowl hangover. I don't know if it's injuries, all of the above. I don't know what's going on, but this offense looks absolutely broken right now. And then I'm pretty sure I know what's wrong with the Jets offense, and it's a lot, like probably the quarterback, right? The number one thing here is the quarterback. Yeah, in this London game, this guy had -10 net passing yards, because remember, sack yards take away from net passing yards as far as team stats go. That is hard to do. 9 sacks. Justin Fields is supposed to be a mobile quarterback. What is going on here? You got to wonder now. Like, look, I was really high on Justin Fields. Said, hey, he's like the discount elite quarterback, right? He gives you that rushing. He's got Garrett Wilson. Yeah, he's not going to be as good as those guys, but he could be good enough. And he's had some games, but then he has games like this. And now you got to really wonder, like, are we going to see Tyrod Taylor again? And then, of course, Garrett Wilson. I mean, 3 catches for 13 yards. And it's not like he wasn't open. I know it's Surtain, a tough matchup here. Okay, it is what it is. But he was open, and Justin Fields just like won't pull the trigger. It's like he just waits to get sacked. It was brutal today. At this point, I kind of almost hope that we see Tyrod Taylor next week. But right now, you can't feel good about this Jets offense. Mason Taylor, another guy, bombed today. Everybody in this game bombed today. I'm not worried about the Broncos players. I'll get to them later. But you got to be a little nervous about the Jets players with the quarterback situation right now. I know Garrett Wilson has been really good this year, but it's been like all garbage time here. So what changes? Like, are you going to fire Aaron Glenn? Are you going to put Tyrod in? Like, how does this get better? I just don't know. And then this was supposed to be the week for Keenan Allen, right? Quentin Johnston out. He had been good to start the season, and then he gets 4 catches for 27 yards. Meanwhile, tight end Oronde Gadsden more targets. Of course, Ladd McConkey had another big game. But you look at Keenan here, this is now 3 straight games where he's had 5 or fewer catches, hasn't reached 60 yards in any of the last 3 games. He's only gone over 40 yards in one of those games. It's like, got to really start to wonder. Like, remember, Keenan Allen's old by NFL standards. Like, came out of the gate. He was fresh. Now he's got some games under his belt. Is he hurting? Is he starting to slow down? Because again, with QJ out in this matchup against the Dolphins, you thought this is it. This should be a great QJ or a great Keenan week, and it wasn't. It was a great Ladd week and another disappointing Keenan week. So I think you got to start getting nervous about Keenan Allen, especially because it sounded like Quentin Johnston was kind of close to playing, so probably going to play next week. Like, you drafted Keenan late, so hey, if you only get those first few games out of Keenan, oh well. But yeah, if you've been relying on Keenan as an every week starter, I think you got to be getting a little bit nervous right now. And I don't even know what to call the Seattle Seahawks backfield. I mean, this is like fantasy football nightmare fuel right here. Kenneth Walker, 10 carries. Zach Charbonnet, 12. Kenneth Walker, 1 catch. Zach Charbonnet, a catch. I mean, look, Kenneth Walker wasn't great today. I'll say that. But Zach Charbonnet, again, 2 yards per carry. Why is this guy getting the ball so much? This is just brutal. Like, if you have either of these guys, you can't feel good right now, because what do? It's like, you hope one of them scores. You hope Walker rips off a long touchdown. You hope Charbonnet gets a goal line carry. Like, that is where we're at with what should be one of the most valuable backfields in all of fantasy football. And instead, it's an absolute nightmare, being absolutely ruined by Clint Kubiak and Mike McDonald here. And how does it get better? Again, outside of one of these guys getting hurt, I don't see how it changes. And man, remember when Jacoby Myers was great in weeks 1 and 2? What has happened here? This guy has completely disappeared over the last few weeks. Today, 4 catches, 39 yards, only 4 targets. Like, looks like the number 2 wide receiver behind Trey Tucker. Michael Mayer leading the team in targets with 7. Look, Geno wasn't great today, but he wasn't as bad as he's been. But I've got to really wonder here, like, really, I'm hoping, like, are they trying to trade Jacoby Myers? Is that why they're going to Trey Tucker and these other guys so much? Like, what is going on here? Like, Jacoby, it looked like after the first 2 weeks was going to be like a solid, wide receiver that you're going to feel good about every single week, and it's gone the exact opposite way to where this guy's barely even startable. I mean, even this week I was like, flex, barely flex, and really, I think that's where we're at with this guy. Like, barely a flex right now. Got to hope that maybe he gets traded to some better situation, which not sure what that would be, but man, I don't know what's going on here with the Raiders. Trey Tucker looks like the guy you want if you're going to start one of these wide receivers, and Jacoby Myers just looking like he's going in the wrong direction. And speaking of the wrong direction, what happened to Juwan Jennings? Like, okay, fine. Pearsall's out. Kittle's out. Jennings is good to go. This is it. All right, Jennings should have a good week this week. No, once again, we see Kendrick Bourne, 5 catches, 142 yards on 9 targets. Jake Tonjes, another decent game, right? 6 catches, 58 yards on 7 targets. Where's Joe? Oh, there he is. He's way down at the bottom. 1 catch for 7 yards. Getting yelled at by Kyle Shanahan on the sidelines, like not being on the field for a ton of snaps. Like Mac Jones, just like Kendrick Bourne is Mac Jones's guy, right? It's like Kendrick Bourne, Jake Tonjes. Like if Mac Jones plays again next week, just start those guys. I mean, unless Kittle's back, of course, just start them, because apparently Mac Jones can only see these guys on the field. He's just forcing it to these guys. So look, I maybe the only hope for Jennings at this point is if Purdy's back next week, Pearsall's back next week, Kittle's back next week, then Kendrick Bourne doesn't really have much playing time. I mean, who knows? Maybe they like Kendrick Bourne more than Jauan Jennings at this point. I don't even know. It wouldn't even surprise me at this point because Kendrick Bourne has been so good. So, look, Jauan Jennings, I thought this week he could be a good play with Pearsall out, with Kittle out. Nope, not even close to a good play. And again, going forward, what are we even going to get from this guy? And then before missing week 4, it was looking like Jaylen Warren was taking over the Steelers' backfield. And I guess after week 4, they said, hold on, maybe this isn't the case. Look, only 5 more carries than Kenneth Gainwell. But I think what's really concerning here is Kenneth Gainwell, 6 catches, Jaylen Warren, 2. That is like where Jaylen Warren needs to make his living, catching passes. We thought all offseason it was going to be Caleb Johnson that was going to be taking touches from Jaylen Warren. Nah, not Caleb Johnson. It's going to be Kenneth Gainwell, apparently. And if Jaylen Warren isn't even going to catch a ton of passes, like if Kenneth Gainwell is going to be the preferred pass catching back, what are we really getting out of Jaylen Warren this year? It's like touchdown or bust from this guy right now. So I know it was a tough matchup here, but I'm not worried about like his fantasy points. I'm worried about the usage being this close between him and Kenneth Gainwell. I had Jaylen Warren, did not like him this week because of the matchup. Now I like him even less after this kind of usage. And I hate to say it, but I just don't know if it's going to happen for TreVeyon Henderson this year. I mean, it doesn't matter what happens. Nothing changes. Ramondre fumbles 3 times. Nope, doesn't matter. Still going to get, half the carries or more than half the carries. Antonio Gibson, season-ending injury? Nope, doesn't matter. Like, this run game is terrible. And honestly, like, to be perfectly honest, TreVeyon Henderson has not impressed me, right? We've seen some other rookies like Quinshon Judkins, Ashton Jeanty, Hampton before the injuries, like Woody Marks for a game, Bill right now, where we say, like, man, this guy is looking good. Like, you got to give this guy the ball more. I don't feel that way about TreVeyon Henderson. Like, he doesn't look necessarily any better to me than Ramondre Stevenson, sadly. So I just really wonder if we're going to see it this year. And, like, it's time to stop talking ourselves into this, right? Saying, like, well, Ramondre fumbled, now it'll be Henderson's time, or Gibson's hurt, now. No, it's not going to be Henderson's time. I don't know what's going to make it Henderson's time. Maybe a Ramondre injury? Even then, is it going to be Henderson's time? I still have my doubts. And I'm starting to have my doubts about Hunter Henry being like a set and forget tight end. 3 catches, 27 yards today. That's now 7 catches total in the last 3 games. Like, I don't know what's happened here, right? I don't know what's happened. It looks like he's just going to be back to a touchdown-dependent tight end start after looking like, hey, maybe he's just going to be a guy who's going to be a big part of this offense. We saw Kayshon Boutte go off today, right? We saw Pop Douglas with that big touchdown. Diggs didn't do a whole lot, had that big play called back by OPI, but yeah, it just doesn't look like Henry's a big part of this offense like he was earlier in the year. Sure, in plus matchups, you can feel good about him. He always has a chance to score, but I think we just got to put him back in the tier of streaming tight end at this point. And then if you're holding out any hope for Juwan Johnson, not sure what to tell you. 2 catches, 15 yards, and a fumble just to rub salt in the wound. Again, another guy, only 7 catches over the last 3 games. Hasn't even reached 30 receiving yards in any of the last 3 games. This guy's droppable. Like, again, great start to the season. Looked like maybe you found a waiver wire league winner, tight end. No, doesn't look like that anymore. You can drop Juwan Johnson. We don't really need to be asking us start-sit questions about Juwan Johnson anymore because he shouldn't be on rosters, to be honest. All right, now let's move on to players I'm not panicked about, even though they absolutely let you down today. Let's start with Sutton and J.K. Dobbins, and I guess even Bo Nix. Look, that game was horrible on both sides of the ball. Just a terrible game. It happens. I'm chalking this one up. Move on. Like, it's a bad game for the entire Broncos offense. They'll be better. Don't worry about it here. And same with Stephon Diggs. I know it's frustrating when you see Pop Douglas have a huge touchdown, Boutte have 2 touchdowns, and you're like, what happened to Diggs? But he did that long 50-yard catch called back on a very terrible OPI call. Like, look, not a Patriots fan or a Saints fan, and like, the Patriots won, but man, there was a ton of calls going against the Patriots in that game. It was absurd. But anyways, don't panic on Diggs. I still think he'll be okay. Same with Davante Adams. Man, I mean, what happened with the Rams against the Ravens this week? Like, I don't even know. 17 points against this Ravens defense, really? But look, Adams had back-to-back plays where he was wide open in the end zone and Stafford missed them. Stafford just looked terrible today. And look, if Puka's out, Adams going to have to step up as the number one wide receiver. He's going to be fine. Same with Javonte Williams. Finally had a bad game today, but look, the Panthers have actually been a sneaky good run defense. And you got to give a guy is not going to be a stud every week of the season. Everybody gets a pass. Give Javonte Williams a pass. And I know the fumbles hurt Zay Flowers today, and having Cooper Rush hurt Zay Flowers today, but don't do anything crazy. Don't sell low. Don't drop Zay Flowers. Don't panic here. Sounds like Lamar's going to play after the bye. He'll be fine. And again, with Michael Pittman, okay, he had a bad game today. Josh Downs had a big game. Alec Pierce getting some big catches. Of course, Warren had that touchdown, look good. But again, he's been mostly good this year. He gets a pass. Don't panic on Michael Pittman yet. And same with Travis Etienne. I know you're probably starting to get a little nervous. 2 straight really bad games in a row, but he's had 2 very, very tough matchups. Next week gets the Rams. That shouldn't scare you. Derrick Henry just ran for over 120 yards against that defense. If he struggles again next week, okay, then we're starting to panic. He's still dominating the touches here. No worries. And I feel the same way about Quinshon Judkins. Okay, his first bad game this year, but again, it happens. He's still dominating the touches. He's still the guy in this offense. And guess what? He gets the Dolphins next week. Don't do anything crazy here with Quinshon Judkins. But do make sure you stay tuned and subscribe to Fantasy Endgame. We got all the content you need to help you dominate your Week 7 matchup.